Okay. Leaving for the day, let's go. All right. It's time to roll, baby. It's time to roll. And you know it's time to roll. It's time to roll. Yo, I'm out. See you tomorrow. Yeah, I'm here to tell you that being an entrepreneur is not always the prettiest thing, it's not always the easiest thing. But for me, it has been the only thing that makes life make any sense. I remember when I first made the choice to drop out of school. Now, I didn't physically leave school until like the 9th grade, but mentally, I dropped out in the 5th. And I know that's sad, but I hated school with a passion. I felt like it was a complete and utter waste of time. I realized that the chances of me growing up and needing to recite the Boston Tea Party and on all of these things that they were teaching me, I realized that that was probably slim to none. The chances of that happening were slim to none. And I just made a choice to just check out. You know, I was so jacked up at home. I mean, my household was not in a really good position anyway. My father was an alcoholic who was very abusive to my mother. You know, I didn't know if we were going to have a place to stay every single night. And I was all jacked up. And the last thing I needed to worry about was, you know, Mrs. Green's homework assignment, you know, so I just mentally checked out. And the only thing that really saved me was a belief that I was gonna grow up to be a rapper. Now, I did. I ended up becoming a rapper. I ended up being featured in Source Magazine a couple of times, Hip Hop Weekly magazine a couple of times. And then I got to this place where I felt like everyone thought I made it, and I knew that I hadn't. And my world came crashing down. You know, I was in a horrible relationship at the time, and I was financially bankrupt at the time. And I said to myself, you know, and this was when I was, what, 27 years old. So I'm like, I just felt like at the time I didn't want to be on the planet anymore. And what saved me was losing fear of death, ironically, caused me to lose fear of living. And I decided, when I decided to give it another chance, I decided that I was going to make up my mind every single day to just give it my all, to put forth as much effort as I possibly could to developing myself into the person that I wanted to be. And what I wanted to be at that time more than anything, at 27 years old, all I wanted to be was happy. Because up until that point, I'd never experienced true happiness unless I was partying, unless I was drinking, unless I was smoking, unless I was, you know, twisting up my fingers and gangbanging and all of that stuff. And I realized that I hadn't lived. And so in the blink of an eye, I made a decision to change my life drastically. And that meant cutting off friends. That meant no drugs and alcohol, no partying, no chasing women, just personally developing myself into the person that I wanted to be, which is the person that you see right here at the age of 40 at the time of recording this video. And I'm sharing this story because a lot of times you look at the finished product of someone that you might see on social media and perceive to be successful and not understand the origin story of that person. And a lot of times when you are able to understand the origin story of a person, it gives you the ability to relate to that individual. Because you might be in a position where you feel like you don't know what to do. You might feel like giving up. You might feel like you're going nowhere. You might feel like you're stuck. You might feel like there's no hope for you, right? And you see somebody pull up on Instagram in a Lamborghini or the jewelry, or they seem to be hiking and, enjoying life all the time. And you might feel like you're so far behind. But I'm here to tell you that you're not as far behind as you think you are. All you got to do is make a decision. Just make a decision that you're going to change your life, and make a decision that you're going to do everything humanly possible to improve yourself. Because what I found is that as long as I was willing to improve myself, my circumstances changed. My circumstances improved when I was dedicated to improving myself. And I'm here to tell you that I took myself from being a ninth grade high school dropout to a multimillionaire that ran several successful online empires like Southern Web Service, Overstock Domain, Web Asset Group, MariettaGeorgia.org, and then a plethora of other companies that I've sold over the years, like fishingpros.org or .net. It was .net or .org. But I'm saying all that to say that I've had extreme lows and also extreme highs. And now that I'm 40, although I've been super successful, I'm still growing, okay? Even recently, within the last 6 months, I took a look at my life and I said, am I happy with the way things are right now? Do I want to change anything about my circumstances? And I started to realize that there were so many things that I wanted to change about my circumstances. Business models, okay? One of the things I changed was one of my companies. I had a business model that I no longer enjoyed. It no longer provided joy for me to perform that business model anymore. So in the blink of an eye, I made a decision to stop the business model right in its fucking tracks. And that took a lot of courage because there was a lot of finances tied to it. But I knew that I had to stop that train and move in a different direction, because the way it was going, I knew that I didn't want to continue to make money in that way and working with some of the people that I was working with under that particular business model. And these are hard decisions that you're going to have to make on your journey, not once, not twice, but several times throughout your life. You're going to have to make these hard choices, or these moments, where you have to pivot. And sometimes you have to pivot and do things for your soul, and sometimes you pivot and you do things for your soul plus your wallet. And sometimes you move, sometimes you stay. It never really ends. I don't know any successful person that has not continuously gone through their version of trials and tribulations. Okay, so I'm here to tell you that the growth doesn't stop at a certain point, because if you don't stop growing, you flatline. So I've always been about growth, and I've always been about making those hard choices so that I can follow what I truly believe to be my calling. And I'm big on following my calling. You can always do things for money, but it's one thing to do things for money that's in harmony with your calling. And that's what I've been about, okay? And just 6 months ago, I made several big changes, and that was just one of them, okay? And none of them were convenient. None of them were convenient. They were all hard choices to make, but I realized that it would be even harder to continue to do things the way that I've been doing them. So when I talk about self-mastery, when I talk about mastering yourself, mastering your mind, and spiritually aligning, I'm not talking from a place of completion. like I've just figured it all out and there's nothing else for me to know. I'm talking about these things because I'm living it day in and day out, okay? And I'm here to tell you that as long as you continue to make choices, as long as you continue to make choices, you're going to realize that you have options. And as long as you realize you have options, you also will realize that there's always a solution to whatever it is you're going through in the present moment. And a lot of times what keeps us stuck is that we won't make a choice. You know, I know how many people I've come across over the years that, you know, they tell me their problems, and when they tell me the problem, like automatically the solution is right here in my mind. But what I find is that people don't want the solution. They just want to hear themselves complain. They want to feel heard. And I get that. I understand that. But complaining is not solving the problem. And just hearing yourself talk is not solving the problem either. You have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, do you even want to solve the problem? Do you even want a solution to what you're going through? That's a big thing that you have to ask yourself. Because if you don't want a solution to what you're going through, shut up about it. And that's one of the things that I've had to tell myself over the years. You know, I would complain about things. I'll give you a prime example. I complained about some people that I was dealing with, and I just kept complaining about it, and nothing ever changed. I would complain, and then it would remain the same. I would complain, and then it would remain the same. I would complain, and then they change a little bit, and then it would go back to the same thing. And then one day, I said, you know what? Complaining, obviously, is not working. Therefore, it's on me to make a change. And I started to make the change. And I'm here to tell you that when you make the change, and when you decide that you're gonna do things differently, you're gonna have several things come up. Number one, your old ways of doing things is gonna flare up, and now you're gonna be at war with your central nervous system because you're gonna feel like you're doing something wrong because you don't feel like yourself, right? Number two, you might start to have conflict with people that were accustomed to you doing things a certain way. And now that you're changing it, they're like, what the fuck? Okay. Prime example. I knew that I had to change business models in another company that I owned. Okay. And I knew it was draining me. It was dragging me down. I knew that it was not a good thing. And I was afraid to change the model because I felt like my customers would be upset if I changed, right? And then one day I asked myself, you know, after complaining over and over and over again, I asked myself, like, I'm doing it again. I'm complaining, knowing that nothing's gonna change. And then I said, I gotta change something. And that's exactly what I did. I changed my model. And sure, a couple customers got upset, a couple of them left. But when I really looked at it, I didn't want those customers anyway. Why are we afraid of letting go of things we know we don't really want? Prime example, people who complain about their jobs, but they won't let it go. People that complain about their spouse, but they won't let them go. People that complain about the city that they live in, but they won't move out of the city. We just love hearing ourselves complain because complaining makes you feel like you're doing something about it, but complaining is not doing anything. The only thing that changes anything is change itself. And it's as simple as if you've always gone left and that's what you're complaining about. Hey, I got a great idea. Try to go right. Try to go in a different direction. See what happens. You know what's down this road, but you don't know what's down this road. And that's what keeps people stuck in realities they hate. Even though they hate this reality, they know it. They know what's down there. They hate it, but they know it. It's familiar. This way is a whole new world of possibility. They don't know anything about it, but they won't go down that road because they don't know anything about it. So literally they hate what they have, and they fear what they don't know. And whether it is you finding a new career, you getting in a new relationship, you already know what you have. So why not try something that you've never tried before? Why not try that? Why not try something that you've never done before? Move to a place you've never been before. You've never lived there, just pack up and go live there. Go do it. Go ask that girl out on the date. Go start that company. Go run the ad on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Try it. What do you have to lose? Money? You're already losing. So we have to be willing to get out of our own way. And time again, I ask myself, am I standing in my own way? Am I standing in my own way? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is, yeah, I'm in my own way. And that's a good thing. If you recognize that you're in your own way, that's a really good thing. Because guess what you just did? You just figured out the cause of your problem. It's you. Now, this isn't time to throw a pity party, feel down on yourself and call yourself stupid. No, this is a time for celebration. Because again, all we're trying to do is figure out what's causing the situation. And when you realize that you're the one causing the situation, you now know the solution to your problem. You also know the problem to your problem, but you also know the solution to your problem. And if the problem to your problem is you, then the solution to your problem is you. And how do we get out of our own way? Again, if we've always been doing it this way, just start doing it this way. If I've always been complaining, try not complaining. If I've always drove this way to work, drive this way to work, or don't go at all. If the relationship is driving me nuts, get out of the relationship. We make up these things like we have to struggle and fight for what we want. And we justify keeping what we have by making ourselves believe that if we fight for it long enough, we'll eventually end up loving the thing. Or that although we hate the thing, we really love the thing, and that's why we're fighting for it so freaking much. Lying to ourselves. Conventional wisdom coming from conventional society is what has most people living the way they live. And I look around and I ask myself, would I like to live the way most people are living? And the answer is no, I would not. So if I wouldn't, and I'll ask you, do you want to live like most people are living? Because most people are miserable. Most people are overweight. Most people are in relationships that are not really sexy. They're just, I've been with this person a long time, and, most people are in jobs that don't fire them up. They're just, it pays for the mortgage. I mean, I don't really like it. I just go through the motion. What kind of life is that? So if we don't want to end up like these people, why do we adopt the same philosophies they have? Because whatever philosophy we adopt is what is going to be true for us. When I'm scrolling on social media and I hear a philosophy that sounds good, I'm like, That sounds good. It also sounds true. But I go one step beyond that. It doesn't matter if it sounds good. And it doesn't matter if it's true. What matters to me is, do I want to live by that philosophy? Like I heard a popular influencer the other day say, well, you know, you got to work yourself. You got to work yourself in the ground night and day if you want to make your dreams come true. I mean, you literally, I mean, no sleep, you know, just, and I'm like, my brain is like, you know what? That's true. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Doesn't matter if it sounds good. Doesn't matter if it's true. Do I want it to be true for me? Because again, whatever philosophy we subscribe to is the philosophy that we end up living by. That's what we live by. It's not, everything is true. If you say life is hard, true. If you say life is easy, true. If you say life is good, true. Life is bad, true. Economy's good, true. Economy's bad, true. Everything you say is true. And the reason why I know that is because the moment you say that life is hard, there's somebody right now at that same time thinking to themselves, man, life is good. At the same time you saying that the economy is bad, there's somebody somewhere in the world saying, man, I love this economy. It's never good or bad for everybody all at the same time. It's about what you believe. What do you subscribe to? I don't care who said it. I don't care how it sounded. My question I always ask is, do I want to live by that philosophy? Do I want that to be true for me? And a lot of times it's no. There's even now a rise of YouTube creators that look like they have no facial expressions at all. And you could just see how the copycat society is, where everybody, then there's one or two people that they just kind of look like, you know, they just talk just like this. And, you know, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's how they talk. And then you can tell that other people are watching them because these people end up talking exactly like that person. There's nothing wrong with the original person that talks like that if that's their personality. But what I've started to notice is that there's a rise of individuals that are now all talking like this. No facial expression. Just, you can't tell if they're happy or sad. That's how copycat the world is. Copycats. People just copy whatever they see working for somebody else. Or whatever they see somebody else doing, that's what they do. They just copy that person. They don't even know they're copying. This is how lost people are. NPCs is what they are. The NPCs see somebody else doing things a certain way, and then they just automatically do that the same way without even realizing or acknowledging that they're even doing it the same way that person is doing it. And I don't want to be like that. I never have wanted to be a follower. I never wanted to just follow what other people are doing simply because it looks cool or simply because everybody else was doing it. I always wanted to be my own person. That's why it was so important for me to become an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur meant that I got to become my own person. I don't have a boss telling me that I can't say shit on social media I want to say. I don't have to worry about what my coworkers think about my political views. Okay? I don't have to worry about showing up on Saturday after I told my kids that I was going to be off Saturday. Now my boss wants me to work on Saturday. I don't have to worry about that. All of those things were important to me. And I saw all of my friends go out and get jobs, and it was convenient because they got immediate money up front. They got a guaranteed paycheck, and they got to, you know, buy the house and the car. And meanwhile, I was building my empire from the ground up, not really caring about what they were doing. knowing that I would eventually not only catch up to them, but I would lap them. But it would feel even sweeter because I'd done it believing in myself rather than checking in on somebody else's time clock. It was important for me to stay free. And so on your journey, you got to start asking yourself, what is important to me? Because it's like a quote I heard the other day that sound good and that I also want to be true for myself. You got to know what game you're playing. What game are you playing? And if you don't know what game you're playing, there's no wonder why life is not working out for you, because you don't even know what game you're playing. You haven't even decided what the rules of the game are. And until you do, you'll always fail. You'll always be missing the mark. So this is a wake-up call to you. Figure out what game you're playing and play that game to the fullest. Master yourself and subscribe to the channel and come see me on the school platform. Join Mind Master Society right now. The price is only $10 right now for the next 10 people. And also check out this video right here to learn more about how I think like a wizard and how you can manifest the reality that you want to manifest.